Where the land meets the sea, there is often violent confrontation. But under certain conditions, this war of attrition can escalate into one of the most damaging of all natural disasters. The worst floods are caused when the ocean is whipped into such a fury that it no longer respects the border between land and sea. These are the floods we should fear most.
Floods are the ultimate weapon of mass destruction.
This is the moment our flood defences were built for.
When one of the world's most iconic cities faces an invasion from the sea, there can only be one winner. What you are about to see is what would happen if the right conditions collided to create the perfect disaster. London, with a population of 7 million, is one of the world's largest low-lying cities. Through its heart snakes the River Thames. The Thames connects London to the cold waters of the North Sea. And every day, with the high tides, the river brings the sea uncomfortably close. The city has always feared the power of its destructive neighbor. So much so that it has built an elaborate system of walls and gates to try and protect itself. But all this might not be enough if nature conspired to create the perfect flood. It would take a unique combination of events, the first of which would be rain. Weeks and weeks of rain.
Gemma! Coming! Put your coat on! It's Kirsty. Doug's let me down again, so I'm going to have to take Jem to school. I know, it's like he's the only one with a career that counts. Will you tell Mike I might be late? No driving and talking. Gemma? Hello? Thank you very much.
London is used to rain, and the river normally carries it away, around 6 billion litres of it every day. But a prolonged period of exceptional rainfall and the city's entire drainage system would reach breaking point.
1 inch of rainfall over 1 square mile creates 14.5 million gallons of water. And that water is all trying to move downhill to the lowest point.
Mum?
Yeah.
What would make water flow up and not down?
Something very weird. Gravity makes water flow downhill, down through the pipes out into the river. You do science.
But this morning, water was flowing up and out of the thing.
Really? So your dad's going to pick you up, okay?
What if he forgets?
He won't forget. He wouldn't dare after this morning. If he's not here, you go home with Tim and Mrs. Hughes, okay? Love you!
London's main protection from flooding is known as the Thames Barrier, a massive system of steel gates that lie at the bottom of the river in readiness to be raised up if a big incoming tide from the North Sea were to threaten the city.
The Thames Barrier offers a very good standard of protection, but the consequences, should the barrier be overtopped, which could happen, would be devastating and enormous.
Relentless rainfall is not enough to do this. Another ingredient is needed, and that will come a little later in the day.
Morning, Kevin.
Never known the river like this. High readings everywhere except the wharf.
Why? What you getting at the wharf?
The gauge is bust. I'm not getting anything.
Kirsty Gibson. Mike, look, I know I'm late again, but...
No, not interested in your excuses, Kirsty. I want you to go and have a look at the gauge of the wharf on your way in. We're getting no reading from it, okay?
Sure, I'll go and check on it now.
And there's no let up in sight. We've more rain to come today, and it looks like for the rest of the week. Now,
city has a capacity. It can only take so much rain in an hour. And after you go over that limit, then what you have is lots of water spilling over out of the drainage system, flooding the streets and flooding all the lower-lying areas.
under the streets of London is an extensive network of drains, which normally carry away excess water. But once these old drains fill up, there is nowhere for the water to go, and one of London's defences against flooding is blown. The main ingredient needed to complete the threat to London is now forming 1,000 miles away above a small stretch of sea in the North Atlantic Ocean. The weather is changing fast. An area of low pressure is beginning to form, and as the pressure within it drops faster and faster, the surface of the ocean begins to stir. Nothing to worry about in London, at least not yet. But if the storm moves into the North Sea and combines with the unusually swollen River Thames, then London will be one step closer to disaster.
To this weather and look at it, fuller than I've ever seen it.
Not now, Frank. I'm not in the mood.
You know it's spring tide in a couple of days. Nowhere for flood water to go as it is. Any more of this?
Frank, if I had £1 every time you told me London was going to flood, I'd be a bloody millionaire. And if I was a millionaire, I sure as hell wouldn't be wading through this muck.
Well, you should have been here at 6 o'clock this morning. The tide was so high you'd be swimming through it.
Rain, heavy at times, is expected to continue, and forecasters warned of more stormy weather on the way.
Kirsty, here's the latest weather reports.
Thanks, Kev.
It is the weather around this storm which reveals it is destined to become especially bad. The worst possible combination of weather surrounds it, a collection of massive high-pressure systems, and together they will have a dramatic effect on the ocean. The more high pressure around it, the more violent a low pressure area will become. The air rushes from the highs towards the vacuum at the heart of the low, and then the rotation of the Earth spins this mass of rushing air into a full-blown storm. And the wind this creates starts whipping up the seas below.
Well, you know how it is. Just wouldn't want to think West London was going to get a dipping. Many thanks. Now, where were we?
36,400 new homes in the Thames Gateway.
Sorry. These